Hello, YouTube. Yes, I know. I originally planned this review. I originally planned this review for tonight. However, that was just because I was debating whether or not to go see Venom. Because Tuesdays, movies are half off. But when I got home. I was When I got home from work, I was just basically too tired to, I was just basic. I just basically felt too tired to go back out, um, and I thought it would, and plus the amount of laundry that I have to get done. I was just like, yeah, screw it. So I decided to do this review now. So today today I will be reviewing Halloween 2018. Now, now this movie, um, for those of you who don't know, this movie was a this movie was this movie basically was a reboot of the timeline. Um, and what that means is it took this movie completely ignores all the other films that came after the original. So the only one that's canon in this new timeline is the original movie. So like it completely ignores like Halloween 2, Halloween 3, Halloween 4, Halloween 5, Halloween 6, H2O, all those other movies. Um, it just completely ignores them. So they are no longer canon in this new timeline. Um, Now, I know I mentioned this briefly in in my review for Joker Folly, Folly Deluxe. However, I'm gonna bring it up again because I feel like it is, since I'm gonna be talking about Halloween, I feel like it's worth repeating. Um, and that is, John Carpenter originally anticipated Halloween to be, like a one and done, like a one and done thing. But, obviously, because it was such a big hit at the time, um, the studio, of course, got involved and was like, yeah, no, 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 you're not, um, you need to make another movie. So Halloween 2, um, obviously, ended up happening, which I think is very, very underrated, but that's, for another time. And then, excuse me, and then Halloween 3, of course, didn't feature Michael Myers at all. And then Halloween 4, obviously, the return of Michael Myers. So eventually, um, I think it was after Halloween 3, I want to say. Um, I think it was after Halloween 3. John Carpenter left, the franchise. Um, and then of course, each movie that came after just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So when Blumhouse, took over, the franchise, um, John Carpenter was basically like, okay, well, if we're really going to do this again, um, then I need to come back. And director David Gordon Green, um, from what I understand, came to John Carpenter, um, and basically told, because, he very much wanted Carpenter's input, when deciding, to do these movies. So he ended up coming back as executive producer for um, for this movie and then the two sequels that came after. Um, excuse me. So this movie, um, this movie takes place 40 years after the events of the original, and the movie opens uh, with two investigative journalists um, visiting Michael in a I guess you could say, I guess you could say, like an insane asylum. Um, and they are looking to, you know, basically question Michael and kind of get, like his story of what happened, um, that night. Um, and if you're familiar, with the Halloween franchise, if you're familiar with the character of Michael Myers, he obviously doesn't say a word. So the reporters obviously don't get, anything out of him. Um, they go to visit Laurie Strode. They go to interview Laurie Strode, much to Laurie's reluctance. Um, Laurie Strode in this movie, um, she now she has been preparing. She has spent the past 40 years for preparing for her next encounter with Michael Myers. So during that time, um, she has suffered two divorces. Um, she went through two divorces, and she has a very, very rocky relationship with her granddaughter and her daughter. Um, at age 12, when her daughter was age 12, Laurie was declared an unfit mother because um, she was trying to prepare, Laurie for um, Michael's return. So from a very early age, you know, um, so from a very early age, um, um, Laurie was preparing, Laurie was showing her daughter, like how to use a gun, how to, like how to defend herself, basically. Um, and then social services came and took her away because because they declared Laurie an unfit mother. Um, and her and Laurie is, obviously very much, still traumatized and still, um, she's very, she's very, um, she's very much, still traumatized and she has become obsessed with Michael Myers over the past 40 years. Um, and, um, so she doesn't, her family, doesn't obviously believe that that Michael exists. She doesn't, that they don't believe her when she tells, when she tells them, Michael is real. He's out there. You need to, you need to be prepared. You need to, she's very much Laurie in this movie is, like even her home, like even, like she has her home like completely under lockdown. She's, she's, the best way I can describe it is she's basically prepared for World War III, basically. Um, and, and she is, just, like very paranoid, very, but at the same time, very, very much prepared for Michael's return. Um, there's a, Jamie Lee Curtis in this movie just friggin' kills it. Like when we meet, um, the difference this time around in Laurie compared to when we first met, compared to when we first meet her in the original is literally night and day. I and it's like it's a night and day, level difference this time around. Obviously, apart from the fact that that this is 40 years later. Excuse me, sorry, and Jamie Lee Curtis is obviously much older this time around in this movie. Um, and this movie, and Michael Myers himself, in this movie, um, he is getting ready to be transferred um, to sort of like a maximum security prison where he will spend the rest of his life in prison, for obviously for his crimes. And um but obviously the transfer goes to shit. um and on the the bus that's transferring him, uh and there ends up being an accident, shit goes sideways, and Michael escapes and goes on a rampage. um um this this is how Halloween should be done. You don't need, you don't you don't need, you don't need to shove in a bunch of you don't need to shove in a bunch of random, unnecessary crap to make to make a good Halloween movie. What I'm basically trying to say is, bigger doesn't necessarily mean better. You could have, um sometimes all it takes, is, it's just a small, it's just a minimal budget, some great actors and a great script. And that's what this movie has. Um, that's what this movie has. Bigger doesn't necessarily mean better. Um, unless, unless you're obviously somebody, like Christopher Nolan, Martin Scorsese, somebody, that really, 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 really knows what they're doing. Um, but um, one of the things that I really, really love about this movie, and one of the many things that this movie gets right, is the character of Michael Myers. Like, Blumhouse took, you know, Blumhouse were able to take Michael Myers and strip him down to what made him scary and intimidating in the original movie. And that's obviously, just the fact that he was a mindless killer, with no motive and no reasoning with, and all he wants to do is just keep moving and killing. And this movie does that incredibly well. Um, and in the sequels, in some of the sequels, they had this crap about how, like, Michael and Laurie were brother and sister, and they were trying to basically come up with reasons why, um, they were basically trying to come up with, or they were basically trying to give, a reason as to why, Michael was going after, um, Laurie, and 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 it's like Stephen King, and it's like Stephen King once wrote, um and it's why, and it's like Stephen King once wrote, the victim in a horror story, is obviously, always asking why, but they can, but, but there can be no logical explanation, and there shouldn't be one. The unanswered mystery is what stays with us the longest and is what we'll remember in the end. And that's what makes a horror movie, scary. That's the kind of stuff, um, that's the kind of stuff that, um, that's the kind of stuff that stays with, that's the kind of stuff that stays with the audience. It's like you don't know why, um, the best, the best way, um, the best way to do horror, or if you're really trying to capture, and scare your audience, you don't need a motive. I you don't need a motive. Like if there's, like if there's somebody, um, like if it's like Freddy or Jason or or whatever is after you, is after you, you don't need a motive. I'm, it's like if you were being chased by, I don't know, by, somebody, and you were, scared out of, and you were scared out of your mind, would you really, would you really be taking the time, would you really take the time, to stand there and, and figure, and try to, and try to figure out like why this person is after you? No, I mean, I wouldn't. So, it's, stuff like that, stuff like that, that just, it's stuff like that, that just, that really, really works, in these type of movies. And this movie is, it's just is so brilliant and so, um, it's just is so brilliant, and it's just, it gets, it gets everything right. Jamie Lee Curtis is phenomenal in this movie. Um, in fact, I think I think this is actually her best performance in a, in a, Halloween movie. Um, I enjoyed, some of the other movies, like I liked Halloween 2. H2O I thought was really good, but this one, but this one, this one is just, this one, it just, it just gets everything right, from the acting to the writing to the directing, um, to the general, pacing of the story, just, everything. And, um, just, everything. This is how Halloween should be done. And it just, and it, it really, really sucks, um, that, that the other two sequels, that came after this, couldn't be, as consistent as, as this one was, in terms of, obviously, in terms of quality. Um, but yeah, no, if you're a Halloween fan and if you haven't seen this, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. And if you're looking for, and and even, like if you've never seen Halloween, if you've never seen, uh, you know, the franchise, start with the original and then watch this one, because, because it is, this is just one of those Halloween movies, that you'll just want to watch again and again and again. Um, and it's just, it's so fantastic, and it's so, it's so fantastic, and it's just that good. But yeah, no, anyway, let me know, what you guys think. Let me know what your favorite Halloween movie is, and like, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.